When my father died, I was suddenly thrown into the most complicated feelings that I'd ever experienced. Grief and despair and loneliness all at once, all tangled together with nowhere to go. And as these heavy, heavy feelings kept ruminating inside of me, I would just sit in my car and cry, not wanting to go inside of my apartment and see my boyfriend because I was afraid I would just be too much for him. Just too much for him to deal with. I was in graduate school at the time, getting my master's in music composition. And instead of taking time off, I went further into studying harder, spending more time at my 2 different jobs, just really anything that would distract me from the intense grief. Over the next few months, I didn't really know what to do with myself. But one night, as I was binging Netflix again, like I had been doing the past few months, I looked over at my piano and I decided to go over and play. And I played and I cried, and honestly, I have no idea what I played because I didn't record it. But in that moment, for the first time in my life, I understood what music really is. When I was free falling through the pain and fear and despair, music gave me somewhere to put these feelings that had nowhere else to go, like a quiet light flickering in the darkness. But music doesn't really solve anything. It doesn't fix what's happened to us. It doesn't reverse time. But music is steady and it's true and it's completely without judgment. And music can be a hand to hold, so the fall isn't so great. And in that darkness, in my darkness, after so many years of playing the piano and being around music and trying to always be the best, I finally realized what music really is. And it's not performance or talent or how much time you spend practicing or something you have to earn the right to do. Music is a space to just exist with goodness. And it allows us to transcend into this intangible dimension of sound where time doesn't matter. And our souls and our spirits intertwine with the goodness. And I know this sounds a little out there, but I honestly wouldn't be talking about this if I hadn't experienced it myself. And I didn't genuinely believe that this is true. And I think the problem for a lot of women is they haven't ever experienced this before, and so they don't know how amazing it can be and how much music could change them and heal them and help them. And I think women right now need this more than ever because the world makes us hard and cold and tired. And somewhere along the way, we've lost these things that keep us grounded to ourselves. Here's what I think is happening to us. I think that we get busy and we get tired and we start taking care of everyone around us, whether that's kids or our partners or our roommates or our families or our bosses in our careers. We become so good at showing up for other people that we forget to show up for ourselves. And when we do all of this caring, which is so beautiful and real and something that I'm not trying to minimize, but when we do all of this caring, we put all of our dreams and all of our desires at the very bottom of the list. And then that list becomes so long that we forget it was even on there at all. And I think music specifically is on the bottom of the list for a lot of women. And you might be thinking that you don't have time, or you're too tired, or that you'd probably fail anyways, or that you don't even know where to start. And I want you to know that those aren't excuses, because our lives are so demanding and exhausting, and we have to be everything: the provider, the nurturer, the supermodel, the cook, the maid, the dry cleaner. Everywhere, everything, all at once. But I also want to suggest that those are exactly the reasons why you might need music more than you think. Because here's what music actually gives women. It allows us to connect with ourselves both physically and spiritually at the same time. When you sit down and you play an instrument, even badly, and even if it's just a little bit, something happens in your body, in your mind, that almost nothing else can replicate. And it builds something in us. Self-confidence, character, a quiet kind of courage that starts at the instrument or the piano that you're playing and spreads into everything else. Because in order to make music, we have to keep showing up for ourselves over and over again, even if we fail. And the other thing that is so extraordinary about music is that it's completely intangible. You can't hold it, you can't keep it, and the moment you make it, it's already a thing of the past. It exists only in that silence between the notes, in the room where you made it, in the body that felt it. And I think in our world, when everything is being recorded all of the time, there's something about that impermanence that is so freeing. You don't have to perform your music for anyone, and you don't have to be good at it for it to count. It exists in the moment where you make it and nowhere else, and it belongs entirely to you. And I genuinely think that women, creatures that we are, that literally have the capability to create life, I think that we crave this goodness, and a lot of the time we're just not getting it, and we can't find a way to get it. But music is this fleeting and real and true, untouchable thing that I think that we've been craving, even if a lot of us don't know that we're missing it yet. And the research backs this idea up. Playing an instrument activates more parts of the brain than almost any other activity you can do. Motor skills, memory, emotional processing, and auditory cortex, all of it fires at once. It's also such a great way to relieve stress, specifically not just listening to music, but making music, because there's a big difference between just consuming something and creating it. And we consume, me especially, I think we just consume constantly. We're just constantly being berated with things to look at and things to consume and things to buy. And there's just so much noise around us all of the time. But when we create music, it literally lowers our cortisol levels and makes us less stressed and regulates our nervous system, because music processes emotion in ways words a lot of the time can't even reach. If you've ever heard that kind of cheesy quote, when words fail, music speaks, it's a little bit cheesy and outdated, but it is so true. There are just some instances in our lives where we just can't explain it, or it's just too much for us to bear. But music allows us to feel it. And if you've never felt this before, this is why I'm making this video. It's because I highly encourage you to try learning an instrument, because in some form, all throughout history, women have made music. In every culture, in every era, in every corner of human history, in some way, women have been creating music and focusing on this craft. But in our society, I think we're just becoming so disconnected and so insular that these musical traditions are disappearing. And along with that, this spiritual connection we have to music is also disappearing. And I don't want that to happen. So if any of this is resonating with you, or you've had this quiet voice inside of you begging you to make music for a long while now, maybe now is the perfect time for you to do it. Because you don't need experience, you don't need talent, you don't need to perform for anyone besides yourself. You just need to be brave enough to start. And if you've been looking to play the piano, I wrote something specifically for women who are trying to begin their musical journeys. It's called The Wild Pianist, and it's a self-guided book that's designed specifically for adult beginners who are ready to begin this musical transformation. Because I genuinely think that music will transform you. That's literally why I created my entire company, Wild Music Co., is because I genuinely believe in the healing power of music, and I believe that it will, if at the very least it doesn't heal you, it will help you in some way. Connect to yourself, connect to your spirit and your soul, and keep you grounded in a way that I haven't experienced with anything else. But let's go beyond this book, because I wasn't really sure if I was gonna make this video. It's a lot more personal than anything I've shared on here before, but I think you might be a person that needs to hear this message. And so I decided to be brave and do it anyways, because I think so many women, including myself, are losing this goodness, this innate human creativity and life-giving light inside of us that is just being dampened by the world around us. And we've been losing this light slowly and quietly, and without ever even realizing that it's gone in the first place. But here's what I know is true. The music inside of you was never really gone. It's just waiting for you to come back to it.